Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Finding Sunshine podcast. I'm your host, Kels, and today I have another little bonus story for you guys and an exciting update. Well, it's exciting to me anyway. We finally have a second microphone for the podcast. Woot woot. And I just want to tell you guys what happened to kind of give you and myself a little loving reminder. Long story short, well, I'll do my best to keep it short, but it's me. So, friends, just be patient, period. Chill and trust. And I'm speaking to myself because let me fill you in on what it took to get this microphone. Basically, I realized that it was needed, right? I mean, you guys have heard. We can't lie. Some episodes were lacking a little bit, but it's okay. It was needed. So I am looking forward to having better audio for you all. It is coming. There are a few more pre-recorded episodes, and then after that, we should be on a better path. So I thought, easy, right? I'll go on Amazon, select the exact microphone that I already have, and wouldn't have to break the bank, and all would be well. So I went on, I ordered the microphone, and that was that. Was super excited, super exciting. But then I got the package and found out what I ordered wasn't my microphone. There was actually a second one that I bought a few years back that ended up returning. So I had to return it again. I came to realize that they actually no longer sell my wonderful microphone. So I ended up praying because I wanted there to be consistency and have the audio be the same on an episode, just to have a better delivery. And so I felt led to go on Facebook Marketplace. Lo and behold, there she was, an answered prayer, yay. And I realized afterwards, actually, that it is a slightly different microphone, but actually better. So we love that. But I found it on Facebook Marketplace, same brand, same type, everything. And a good price. And the seller was in New Jersey, though, and they said that there wouldn't be any shipping. But I knew this was from God, so I took a chance and asked if they could ship it, and they said yes. However, they weren't responding in the time frame that I wanted, so I kind of decided to take matters into my own hands because I wanted the microphone now. And I couldn't tell if they were actually going to sell it to me or not. So even though I received an answered prayer, I decided to take matters into my own hands. And so your girl went back on Amazon. You guys, please don't follow in my footsteps and just be patient. It wastes time, energy, mental space, and it's not worth the effort. I went down, I'm not proud to say, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I spent days researching, and then I would make a decision. Also, if you know me, if you know an older version of me, that was not my strongest ability. I have come a very long way, okay? And this story does not show that. It was a moment of weakness, okay? So I would research, choose a mic, buy it, and return it, sadly, because none of them were up to the quality standard that I wanted for the budget that I'm currently on. And I probably did this, you guys, maybe about 4 times, but I share this because all of that unneeded stress was brought on by myself. I was doing this to myself. God had already answered my prayer, and I couldn't be patient, right? So to end the story, I got to a point, and this is going to sound silly, but I was also doing this about a few things in my life, and just to kind of have a little reset moment, I ended up fasting and praying. And it wasn't until about day 2 that I finally opened up my hands and said, I give up, full surrender. I'm going to stop trying to control. This sounds so silly, but please just bear with me. Like it's a silly example, but it goes beyond that. I was exhausted about several things, okay? It wasn't just the microphone, but the microphone does provide a funny story to kind of deliver the overarching message to trust and be patient. I was praying during this fast, and I felt God say, like, are you finally going to give it to me? And I remember, like, I laughed because I was like, wow, that is what I should have done in the first place. It was so simple. Like, I prayed, I got the answer. It was right there. I just couldn't be patient to receive it. And I was being silly, and I wanted it now when I wanted it. But it's like I want it now. I think that's a Willy Wonka reference. I don't know. But anyway, I did end up getting the Facebook Marketplace microphone. It just wasn't in the timeline that I wanted. But it was a great reminder and lesson to take note when He reveals an answer to your prayers and to trust that you will receive it. But it's always in His timing and not yours. I thought I needed it sooner, the microphone. But I didn't actually need it for probably about a month and a half from that time. So it really was just impatience and me being silly. And again, I know it may seem silly to be talking about a microphone. Obviously, it goes deeper than that, but I hope this encourages you to be patient for the blessings coming your way and trust that His plans are good for you. Now, that's not an excuse, and I say this because I used to think that it was faith to wait for God to provide without moving my feet. So I know this is for someone because I used to be that someone. It is not an excuse to sit and do absolutely nothing while you wait. We still have to do our part in the waiting. I still needed to continue reaching out to the girl about the microphone and set up the payment and the shipping and so forth. If I would have taken no steps and said, God will provide, I'm just waiting, I never would have received the microphone on my doorstep. You still have to do the work while you cling on to the promise that you're going to receive it, if that makes sense. Trusting in His timeline. The quote unquote waiting part, the patience part, is not idle waiting. He's not going to do the work for you. He will bless the work you do. I hope this is speaking to somebody because it is speaking to me. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but it popped in my head, and it's a great example. Quick story time. I was trusting God and having faith that all my student debt would be wiped away before I turned a certain age. I'm not going to tell you that age, but I was the one who put that number on it. There's something in me that I know I will not have this debt for the rest of my life. And I've always felt that. So I ended up putting an age on there to kind of set a goal because I know that He can do it. I have so much faith in the power of God, and what He can do is endless. And I know stories of where that has happened. I mean, I have a friend who I would love to share some of their story one day, but basically they needed a certain amount of money to be able to graduate college. And I hope I'm not butchering this story. It's how I remember it when they told it. But they needed a certain amount of money to graduate college, and they weren't going to be able to graduate unless they had that lump sum of money. And they were working and going to school at the same time. And there was really like nothing more that this person could do to be able to come up with that money. So they prayed hard on it and, were worried and stressed as one would be and didn't know what to do. And let me just tell you what happened. One day, I'm pretty sure it was a random stranger. I'm hoping one day that they come on and tell like the full story, but the person, I guess, like didn't know their story, and they ended up writing my friend a check for the amount that they needed to graduate. Like, what? Crazy. It's wild. And the person that gave the money said, I don't know why I'm doing this. I've never done this before. I just felt led to be generous and give this to you. And, so my friend was able to graduate. And so I know that, God can do it. He can have a random stranger come up, write me a check, and my debt has been paid and free. Like, he can do anything. And so in my mind, I know what God is capable of. And I don't know how to explain this to you, but like I said, I know that debt will be gone. And God has confirmed that promise to me, and I've received it. Now, fast forward to the age that I set. Could my debt have been paid off by that date? Absolutely. It was a big goal for sure, but definitely possible. Now, did I move my feet and through the work of my hands ask God to bless it? Or did I do nothing and expect God to take care of it? Please don't miss this. It's not that he cannot, because he can. However, what I thought was having strong faith was actually not taking responsibility and making the sacrifices for the part I needed to play. Now, I want to clarify that we are not talking about salvation or being saved. That is all by the grace of God. That is a gift, a good gift that through faith he allows us to receive, not through our works or anything that we do. We cannot work our way to God. We simply accept the gift, just like my friend accepted the check that was given to her. But much greater. And so what I'm talking about is when you're already walking with God through obedience and believing him for a promise that he gave. The promise that I'm clinging on to, okay, is Deuteronomy 28:12. And wow, I just need to pause because I was not expecting to go into any of this, but let's do it. So let's quickly break down Deuteronomy 28:12, because oftentimes we will cling on to half of the promise and focus on that. For instance, it says, "You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow." So we take that and say, I am the lender, not the borrower. Amen? Which is good. It's good. And it, could or will have you ending up where I was, because like myself, you are not clinging on to the full promise, which states, "The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow." Emphasizing that God will bless the hard work of our hands. We're not just magically going to become the lender and not the borrower. It's through the obedience and hard work of our hands that he provides the blessing. Man, am I receiving a word right now, because I ended up feeling disappointed when the goal I set wasn't met, right? But I didn't put my hands to work and make a plan to reach that goal. Okay, so for most people, it's a no-brainer, right? If you want to make money, you work hard, you set the goals. And of course, I just want to emphasize that putting your hands to work doesn't mean that you're taking things into your control and lessening your faith in God's ability. It's actually obedience and having strong faith that the Lord is going to show up and bless your obedience when you cling on to his promises. It's strengthening your faith and trusting that he will guide your steps and close the doors that aren't meant for you. And I'm not talking about sin. Yes, we can we can choose what we want and make not so great decisions. We can walk through those doors and choose decisions that go against God, which is sin, and we have the free will to do so. I'm not saying God will lock the doors to sin, because you can still choose that route and walk through those doors. And side note, just know if you do, God always provides an escape route, an open door out of temptation and sin, especially when you're seeking him and walking with him. Ask for that escape route and he'll provide it. The doors that I'm talking about are more aligned with your calling, the path he has for you to use your gifts, your talents, your skills, essentially what he has planned for you to do with your time, type of thing. If there's a door that could be good, but it's not God's best, like having the faith, he'll close it, and holding on to the faith in that. I don't know how we got here from microphones, but to sum it up, ask God for a vision, a goal, and start making plans, moving your feet to get there. Then be patient for his timing and try not to cling onto your timeline so tightly. That's where the trust comes in. The promise has already been revealed. Now it's being faithful to continue the work while waiting to receive. Because if you don't have a goal or something to focus on, you'll be scattered or procrastinate. Also, everyone and everything around you will start shaping your life. You might start taking on someone's calling or someone else's vision for your life instead of your true calling and what God has for you specifically. So, yeah. Wow, that was fun. This was an unexpected turn. That was definitely something that I needed to be reminded of. So, thank you, Lord. As always, remember, if he did it for someone else, he'll surely do it for us too. And that doesn't mean God is a genie in a bottle to grant our every wish. That doesn't mean point the finger and say, you did it for them, why aren't you doing it for me? It simply means that God is so good. He is so good, and he loves all of us. That includes you. He loves you, and his promises in the word are for everyone. So when you see him fulfill a promise for someone else, he will do it for you too. He doesn't love anyone more than the other. Simply, all you have to do is say yes to God and walk in obedience with him. Find a promise in the word, cling on to it, and you will see life change. It is the coolest thing. Okay, that is all for today, I think. Thanks again for listening. I am glad you're here, and I mean that. And talk to you soon. I hope you have the best day. Sunshine.